Welcome and thank you for joining us for another installment of the Veteran Remembrance Walk. Today's video is the western half of the section between Iris Lane and Jonquil Lane. Thanks again for joining us. Howard L. Heath, born March 1918, died August of 1973. Howard was COX the U.S. Navy in World War II. Eileen Amanda Roloff Bush, or Tootie, born January 1934, died May 2010. Eileen was CW4 U.S. Army National Guard. Eileen was the first female warrant officer in the state of Minnesota and also a veteran of Vietnam and the Persian Gulf. Harold C. Ostrander, born July 1924 in Fairmont, Minnesota, died October 1973. Harold was a corporal in the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, he was a maintenance man at State Highway Department and a part-time Princeton police officer. Gottlieb Diedrich, born August 1905, the son of German immigrants, died February 1987. Gottlieb was a Tech 4 in the U.S. Army during World War II. William Kilburg Sr., born May 1906, died January 1979. William was a private in the U.S. Army during World War II. Morton Charles Allen Jr., born August of 1923 in Iowa, died March of 2004. Morton was S2 with the U.S. Navy during World War II. After the war, he was manager of the Red Owl store. Walter Theodore Phoebe, born March 1923, died April 1982. He was a Tech 4 with the U.S. Army during World War II. John Frank Stray, born April 1924 in Renville, died March of 2012. John was a private first class with the U.S. Army during World War II and was awarded the Bronze Star Medal and the Purple Heart. Gordon Arvid Olin, born May 1919, died June of 2009. Gordon was a Tech 4 with the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, he was a farmer and butter maker at the Princeton Co-op Creamery. Carl T. Bobo, born November 1904 in Wisconsin, died March 1980. Carl was a private with the U.S. Army in World War II. Carl William Peets Jr., born October 1929, died September 2003. Carl was a SP3 with the U.S. Army. Harry Harold Peets, born March 1927, died May 2017. Harry was a corporal with the U.S. Army during Korea. After the war, he was a farmer and was also on the Mille Lacs County Fair Board for 29 years. Charles I Harmar, died April 1977. Charles was a private with the U.S. Army during World War I. Richard Ingvar Matthewman, born July 1932, died June 2012. Richard was a corporal with the U.S. Army during Korea. Willis Ellsworth Young, or Tud, born February 1913 in Princeton, died January 1982. Willis was Tech 5 with the U.S. Army during World War II. Before the war, Willis worked at the Brickton Brickyards at age 13. He also did a lot of volunteer work at the Mille Lacs County Historical Society. John Victor Eriksson, born 1897, died August 1981. John was with the U.S. Army with service on the Mexican border. Gerald Frederick Lewis Hansen, born October 1933, died May 2001. Gerald was a staff sergeant with the U.S. Army. Leonard Lee Sanford, born March 1927, died July 2010. Leonard was a PHM-3 with the U.S. Navy during World War II. Lee Irwin Sanford, born April 14, 1896 in Foreston, Minnesota, died October 1st, 1980. The only information I could find was this American Legion marker by his grave. Based on his birth date, he quite possibly could have been involved in World War I. Thank you for watching Veterans Remembrance Walk 12. I hope that you are able to get out to the cemetery and visit many of these graves sometime soon. Topics for further research include the National Guard's role in Vietnam and the Persian Gulf Wars, and the Brickton Brickyards near Princeton.